What's going on, everyone? So I was at work today, and around 1 p.m., I see the article, I see text messages, I see everything. And basically, 7 counties in California, including in the one that I reside in, is required starting at midnight, which is in be in a couple hours, a mandatory shelter in place. They officially don't call it a lockdown because you can go outside of your house, but only for essential things. They don't want you going to see friends. They don't want you obviously going to any sporting events, although those are already canceled. And if you do go out for essential things such as getting gas, getting food, going to the bank, stuff like that, they want you to remain 6 feet apart and try to limit the gatherings to 10 or less. So this mandate is going to happen tonight. And I wanted to also take this opportunity to state that I know that in the last video I mentioned that I wasn't going to really talk too much about the coronavirus, but this is current development, current news, and it's affecting each and every one of us in one way or another. Some people are panicking, scale from 1 to 10, 10 being complete panic. Some people are panicking completely. I treated a patient earlier today, and she looked like she had a lot of anxiety, and I tried to calm her down a little bit. And then there's people on the other spectrum that are saying this it's a bunch of fluff, and there's some people that are on 50-50. So I take all my videos very seriously, and especially with the ones that I know people are going to watch. Now, I don't have a huge following, but but regardless, excuse me, based on the last video and the looking at my analytics and the retention rate, it feels like there are people that are interested. Because if you know me and you've been following my channel for a long time, I would venture to guess that you trust. I won't say trust, but you at least will take my opinion into consideration. So yeah, we're gonna do the lockdown. It's gonna be for 3 weeks, and it's right on the cusp of when I potentially might still go to Texas. I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but also I just wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit more. There's just other things on my mind, and I want to stick to factual information and get some more discussion. And feel free to ask me any questions. I'm not an expert. I don't consider myself an expert, and I think a lot of the experts out there that are talking about this coronavirus, to them it's like an educated guess at best. So anyway, to get things off my chest, because I don't want to keep rambling on to my wife. She's probably tired of hearing about it. First things first, on the weekend I went to Trader Joe's, and Trader Joe's is typically very crowded already. And when we went, it was beyond busy, to the point where we just left and went to a different store. I understand that to a point that people are panicking a little bit. I blame a lot of that on the media, and it is a natural response, the human response, to try to control what you can in food intake. Getting toilet paper, which I don't quite understand. People getting tampons. The problem I have with that is were if everyone wasn't, not everyone, but if the majority of people are not going to Costco, if they weren't hoarding and getting out of control, if they were just shopping normally during this time with the coronavirus, this epidemic happening, it would be a little bit better. It would also have a less of a negative effect on the U.S. economy, which I'll get into in a second. But a lot of people are doing that, and more importantly, the problem with doing this is when you hoard for, like, there's a guy you probably saw it on the news, where he took like 47,000 of hand sanitizer, and then he like sold it, made a profit, took all the masks, made a profit. You're taking it away from the high risk people, the people that are of older age, which I spoke about briefly in my previous video. And you're taking away resources from the people that really get it, because in actuality, the majority of people that are getting the coronavirus, they are mild. It's a mild condition, and they will recover. Now, of course, there's always exceptions. There's always going to be exceptions of people under 65 getting the coronavirus. There was I think a doctor in New Jersey or something. He's like 50. He's not 65, and and I believe he died. So it can happen, but the percentages, you got to play percentages, and the percentages state that the majority of people that get the coronavirus, it's under a mild condition and they will recover. Which brings me to another point. The mortality rate right now in the United States, that's where I'm at, it's right around, see if I can remember the numbers. It's about 1.7%. I've stated this before, and I truly believe it, that once all this is over, the mortality rate is going to go down. And sorry if I'm repetitive. If I don't remember if I said this in the last video, but that is because there is a lot more cases out there. There's a lot more people that have the coronavirus. I mean, like I said, my coworker might have had it, and there's a lot more cases out there. But with a lot more cases, that means that more people have it. That's true, but that means a lot more people are gonna actually recover from it. So when this is all said and done, that mortality rate, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, it's not gonna be at 1.7%. It's gonna probably drop to in the low 1%. That's just my opinion. So the fear mongering and all that, I just don't really buy it. Globally right now, the mortality rate is around like 3.7%, but China, they're leveling off, and they don't have as many cases right now. And majority of the cases, I think it's like 180,000, 80 of them come from China. So I just want to get that out of the way. I think the mortality rate, when it's all said and done, is going to go down. What else? The other thing I did want to say is regarding the media. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not Alex Jones. I'm not, but I'm not that. But I do understand that the media does spin things a certain way, and this is just my opinion. But if you guys remember back in 2009, do you guys and gals remember the swine flu? I'm sure you've heard of it briefly, right? The H1N1 virus, swine flu. That's 2009. How much do you know the statistics by it? Is it something that you're going to remember? I mean, this coronavirus, years down the road, people are going to always remember it because it's constantly being pushed in our face. The reason why I bring up the H1N1 is because it wasn't covered much. And you guys and gals, maybe you can enlighten me, but there were close to 60 million people that got infected with the H1N1. 60 million. Compared to right now with the corona is 170, let's just say 180,000. Now, yes, the coronavirus is starting, but to go from 180, it's a long ways to 60 million. I don't think it's going to come even remotely close to it. There was during the H1N1 virus, there was 265,000 hospitalizations. 265,000, more than 250,000. And the most important thing, that's what I look at, is the mortality rate, the deaths. The H1N1 had over 12,000 deaths in the U.S. alone. Right now, currently, there are I'm just going to round us, about 80 deaths in the U.S. 80 deaths compared to 12,000, and everyone's in a complete frenzy. But back in 2009, when the H1N1 came out, I mean, you didn't hear from anything for about 6 months. So these are types of things that you need to really... I'm not blaming anyone, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, like I said, but it makes me wonder, So, in a scale from 1 to 10, like 10 being panic mode, where am I? I mean, I'm not a 1, but I'm not a 9 or a 10. I'm not going out and hoarding and taking all the essential things that the people that are the high risk people that need it, I'm not taking. I'm just shopping normally as I do. This is not a third world country. Americans, you just need to relax a little bit. That's my PSA, public service announcement as of now. And I think that's pretty much it. I'll keep you guys updated. if you don't like these videos, then you just click off. But I will say one thing before I depart. There is a part of me that just gets really frustrated when I talk to certain people, and I'm all about having open discussions, but some people, I think they just, maybe it's just not their fault. They just get brainwashed and they believe everything they hear. And to me, I've never been that type of person. I'm not saying I'm superior. I don't know. I'm not saying anything like that. And the other thing I want to say is, as this unfolds, there are going to be probably some minor errors and things that I may miss because I'm not perfect. I'm learning about this just like you guys and gals are. But one thing I will do is I'll be held accountable, and I will correct and rectify those mistakes. If someone points it out and I'm wrong, I will admit it. And I will admit on my last video, I was honing in and talking about mortality, and how cancer and heart disease has way more. But I did kind of gloss over the fact that it is more than just about mortality, because yes, I may not get sick, but yes, having the social distancing, I totally agree with that. We should be, not having public gatherings, because it's not just about me. I may survive, but I may pass it off to someone else. And my in-laws, they're in the higher risk category. So I kind of glossed over that in the last video, and I should have thought about that. But when you have this much on your mind, it's kind of hard to remember everything. So I try to get all my points across without rambling too much. So that's about it for the update. I don't know how often I'll be updating. We'll just see how it transpires. But do note that just keep doing what you're doing. Last but not least, for this whole mandatory shelter in place, mandatory lockdown as they call it, it's supposed to be a lockdown. I'm considered an essential worker because I work at a hospital, so I'm still going to work. Banks are still open, gas stations, grocery stores. My wife gets to work from home, so it could be way worse. It doesn't affect me financially, so I'm very, very pleased about that. I'm very grateful. But there are people that work at concession stands at NBA games or any sporting event. They might not have a job. It's going to depend on the owner. I know Mark Cuban of the Dallas Mavericks, he offered some type of program, so that's really great. He's been pretty generous, and he's one of my more favorite billionaires on the Shark Tank. But anyways, 12 and a half minutes in, I don't think anyone got this far, but if you did, I really appreciate it. Feel free to have an open discussion. If you want to agree to disagree, that's fine. But let's just all get through this, and I will definitely try to be the best voice of reason for you guys and gals, because when I hear things that just doesn't make sense, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it and give you the information and let you decide what you want to do with that. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.